Forte.
You're simply the best. Better than all the rest. Better than anyone.
Yuriget MDRT. Did I do that okay? Woohoo! What an outstanding audience. The best looking group of people I've seen this year. It is great to be back with you. I think this is my 15th visit to Hungary. And before I had the honor of being invited, Marty said to me, I'll invite you back to Hungary, but you must come up with something new. I've been in this business a long time, but I'm yet to discover a new idea. So I don't think there will be too many new ideas today, but what you are going to hear from some outstanding speakers is a new way of being successful in this business, using all those ideas that we've heard before. Now, the last time I was with you all, I told you the story of my beautiful granddaughter, Ivy. And this is Ivy in the middle. She is my little princess. She is my son's daughter. She's 5 years old. And also on the screen, you see my grandson. He is nearly 10. Yes, I know. He is nearly 10. And also you see my two children, Tom and Ellie. They're twins, now 28. And I'm very proud to say they both work in the business with me, which is fantastic. Now, the last time I came to Budapest, my favorite city in the whole world, my granddaughter Ivy said, "Granddad, where are you going?" And I said, I'm going to Budapest to see some wonderful people. And she said, "Granddad, when you finish giving your presentation, do you think they'll like you? Do you think they'll like your presentation?" I said, "Darling, I don't know, but I would like to think that they will really enjoy my presentation." She said, "Granddad, do you think they'll enjoy it so much they will give you a round of applause?" I said, "Sweetheart, I don't know, but wouldn't it be amazing if I got a round of applause?" She said, "Granddad, do you think they'd love you so much they will give you a standing ovation and cheer?" I said, "Wouldn't that be amazing?" And you so beautifully gave me an amazing standing ovation, and Ivy was very happy when I showed her the video. Unfortunately, I have two grandchildren, and now Tyler is really jealous because I have the video for Ivy and I don't have the video for him. So unfortunately, if you don't mind, I need to do the video for Tyler. I know. So if you don't mind, just for 10 seconds, I'm just going to take a quick video of the standing ovation, and if you can cheer, he will be really happy, okay? So whenever you're ready, let's go. Oh, thank you. You are amazing, you are amazing. Tyler will be so happy. Thank you so much. Okay, so as I said, no new ideas in this business, but when Marty tells you, you have to produce something new, you listen to Marty, right? And one of the things that I know not many advisors around the world are very good at, and that is fact-finding. So I'm going to talk to you today about your very best sales aid. This is your best friend in your toolkit. And if you want to make 2025 your best year ever, please listen very carefully to what I'm going to share for the next 40 minutes. Because this is a very simple version of my fact find. Now, let's get one thing straight. I understand some of you don't use fact finds. Some of you maybe just use a piece of paper and a pen, and that's fine. But I strongly encourage you, and if you want copies of these slides, no problem, I strongly encourage you, if you do not have something official that your company or organization gives to you, please try and create something for yourself. Because the first meeting that you have with your new client creates an opportunity not just to build a relationship, but also to take control of the relationship. Now, what's really important about what I just said, when we take control of the relationship, we change the dynamic of the relationship. So let's be very honest with each other. For thousands of years, the problem with this profession, and it is a profession, not an industry, the problem with this profession is when we sit down with our new prospective client for the first time, isn't it true that in our minds we're thinking, please do business with me, please choose me as your advisor, and the prospect knows this, we know this, and when we give them control of the decision-making process, no surprise when they say, I want to think about it, let me compare with other companies, call me again in 3 months' time. It's where objections come from. So one of the things we're going to do is explore the ways to take control of the relationship so you never get objections. And I'm going to share with you in the next 30 minutes 19 opportunities to do business with your new prospective clients just by fact-finding. This is just gathering information. So let's look at my fact find, a very simple version of my fact find. Now, somewhere at the beginning of the meeting, I am establishing the rules of engagement. And the rules of engagement are really simple. Now, I've been told in the past that I should spend some time doing ice breaking. We've all heard that one, right? Where I talk about the golf clubs and the well-manicured garden and the super clean car, and it gives me something to talk about. But this is a business meeting. I'm not interested in whether they play golf or go on holiday. I'm interested in letting them know exactly who the boss is in this relationship. Like Marty is in the boss in the MDRT relationship that she has with today's speakers. I need my prospect to know I'm in charge. And the way I do this is to establish 2 very simple rules. I call them reasons. So let's imagine I'm meeting with Kath, and I say, great to meet you, Kath. Thanks so much for having me to your home or office. If I may, I think there are 2 reasons why we are meeting today. The first reason is we have to establish whether we like each other and ultimately trust each other enough to agree to work together. Is that fair? The basis of all human relationships are, do you like me? Do I like you? Simple. The second reason, Kath, is can I help you? I don't know at the moment whether I can help you or not, but what I'm going to do with your permission is gather lots of information, confidentially, of course, and at the end of this process, I can tell you whether or not I think I can add some value to make you financially more successful. But Kath, the quality of advice I am able to give you is based entirely on the quality of information you give to me. Is that okay? Now, what I've just done is I have made Kath accountable to me for the advice I'm going to give her. So she will not say, that's private information. I'm not happy to tell you how much money I have in the bank. Can I avoid this question? These are objections, pushbacks we get from a lot of prospects. Why? Because we don't make them accountable. So Kath, I'm going to ask you some questions. The first question, and this is the number 1 idea, the first question I'm going to ask you, Kath, let's just imagine, because when people imagine, they always set the bar higher. Let's just imagine money was no object. Anything was possible. Because the problem with the human brain is when we say, think of a goal, the first thing that we do is we think about SMART goals, don't we? And one of those SMART goals in the mnemonic, SMART, is realistic. So Kath thinks, well, realistically, I'm going to retire when I'm 65. But I didn't ask her to think realistically. I said, if money was no object, if anything was possible, what would you want to do, Kath? So the very first question I have for my new prospect is, what do you want? Not what you need, what do you want? Because the one thing we know about human beings in the UK, in the US, and in Hungary is people always want more than they need. So when you ask someone, what do you want? They always think higher. And when they think higher, they set their objectives in a higher way that allows us more opportunity to develop business opportunity. So what do you want? Later I'll tell you what you need, but for the moment, let's focus on what you want. So when we start the meeting, it's always, if anything is possible, what would you want? Well, I'd like to take my kids to private school. I'd like to move to a bigger house. I'd like 2 holidays a year, okay? And when they start to say, well, maybe that's not so realistic, Kath, I didn't ask you about realistic. I said, what would you like in an ideal world? When would you like to retire? Which school would you like your children to go to? How many holidays? Now, I may not be able to achieve all these things for you, but if we know what you want, we both have a commitment to try and get you as close to those goals as possible. The next page, there's quite a few opportunities here. The first one is, and this is a very surprising point, is their date of birth. Now, many advisors say, well, where is the sales opportunity in someone's date of birth? Well, we're in January now. I'm meeting with a prospect whose birthday is, for example, the 3rd of March. And that tells me I've got 5 or 6 weeks to talk to them and establish life insurance, for example, before the premium goes up. Because when the premium goes up, usually with their birthday, the cost over time is much greater. And that is cost that they could direct towards another opportunity. In some countries, we have things called wills. I think you have them in Hungary. Maybe not lasting powers of attorney, but wills. Now, the great opportunity that comes from wills is I always ask Kath, okay, do you have a will, Kath? Yes, I do, great. Or, no, I don't. Doesn't matter which answer she gives me, because I say to her, so Kath, you have a will, or maybe you don't have a will. Can I just ask you, if anything happened to you, Kath, who would look after your children, if you have any children? She would say, well, that would be my brother and my sister-in-law. If anything happens to you, who is responsible for the administration of your estate, Kath? Kath would say, that's my parents. They're getting a bit older. Maybe I should change them. But it's my parents. So already, 5 minutes into my new meeting, I have established that Kath has 2 children, a brother and sister-in-law, and parents. And all of them are involved in her estate if she dies. Now, I do not ask for referrals. I do not say, Kath, if we do business together, would you be kind enough to introduce me to these people? I say, Kath, if we agree to work together, not if you choose me, if we agree to work together, I need to meet these people. I need to meet these people because as an holistic financial planner, and let's be clear, holistic or transactional, transactional sells products. Holistic looks at the 360-degree picture of someone's financial matters. So I need to meet these people because if they don't know me and I don't know them, they don't know where the money is. They don't know where the insurance policy is or the investments. And many, many billions of euros remains unclaimed around insurance companies. Why? Because people like Kath have all their policies in a drawer and no one knows they're there. So what I'm doing here is not asking for a referral, because when we ask for referrals, the benefit is ours, isn't it? That's why people say, I can't think of anyone, because there's no benefit to them in giving us a name. But if the benefit is to Kath wants to give me the names because she understands that I can help her achieve better financial goals and objectives if she introduces me to these people. And there is a wealth transfer. In the US, it's 84 trillion, it's a lot, billion dollars. In the UK, 9 billion. In Hungary, several billion. In the next 10 years. So if you're not developing next generation relationships, you are going to miss this opportunity. So when talking about wills, it's a perfect opportunity to not ask for referrals, but to get referrals. The next one is, are they in good health? Now, I have a rule. The rule is called the 1-100 rule, and I share it with all my clients. The biggest case I did in the last few months was a £20 million insurance policy with premiums of £122,000 a year, not because I'm smart, not because I've been in the business a long time, because I established that one of my prospective clients' health had become better. Now, sometimes health can get worse, can deteriorate. In this particular case, my new prospect had previously had some challenges with his liver, drinks a bit too much, and he was given an insurance premium rating by the insurance company. So he was paying more for his drinking problem. But because he had stopped drinking and his liver had repaired, we were able to rebroke the insurance policy. Marty thinks that's really funny because I think Marty drinks quite a lot. In organizing this event, I think she is entitled to drink quite a lot. But in this particular case, the guy already had an insurance cover. He had a very substantial amount of insurance cover, but he was paying too much for it because his health had changed. So let's not ignore health changes. The name of your employer. Now, some people will be self-employed, but they may employ other people, and most of us would work for a company. Now, don't miss the opportunity to think about that company, do some research, and maybe approach them, because one of the things that my son now, Tom, who's qualified as an advisor, I open the doors to working with large companies that employ many of our clients, and he goes in usually a couple of days a week. He sits in a room and he provides, we call it a clinic. It's like free advice. People can go to the room anytime they like. Hello, I have a problem with my finances. I'd like to invest some money. I just inherited some money. And the amount of business opportunity we generate from providing a service, because it's a benefit to companies, to offer their employees a service where they can come to us for free advice. Children, next generation opportunities. Please, 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 in the next few years, and especially in 2025, if you want this to be your best ever year, do not ignore the children. It's easy to do when you're talking to someone about an investment or a protection plan to think, at some point in the future, the children will become my clients. That is not what happens. 72% of children do not do business with the advisor of their parents because they have no relationship with them. So make it an objective to try and start building relationships with the children, if only to give them your details and you say, if anything happens to mum and dad, I'm here to help you solve some of the challenges that you will undoubtedly face. One area in my business that has been transformational really in the last few years is working with vulnerable clients. Now, many of you will know what I talk about when I speak of vulnerable clients. A vulnerable client is someone who is or has some challenges, maybe financial literacy, maybe English or Hungarian as a second language, maybe they recently got divorced or they lost a member of their family, or they're sick. These are people who present some amazing opportunities, particularly in the new world of regulation. We'll talk about regulation in a moment, but regulation is something that is going to have the biggest impact on your success in the next 5 or 10 years. If you get it right, your opportunities will multiply. If you ignore regulation, standards, by another name, you will die in this business. So take it really seriously. Now, in my world, vulnerability creates opportunity. Because as you will see towards the end, one of the things that I do is I create new opportunities because I ask my prospective clients, what does a good relationship look like to you? What does great service look like to you? Excuse me. Now, when you have a vulnerable client, typically they will not want to wait 1 year before they see you. I hear advisors say all around the world, well, I provide a great service because I see my clients every year. Okay, for some people, that's a good service. For many people, it's not good enough. So do not adopt a one-size-fits-all approach. So with vulnerable clients, ask them, how much support do you need from me? Some will say, well, actually, I feel, recently divorced. I've never dealt with money before. My wife or my husband dealt with it before. Maybe we speak every 3 months, just to give me some confidence with this new relationship. And then maybe over time, we can see each other more infrequently. Great, that is their understanding. It's their perception of great service. So all I have to do to grow my reputation is to match their expectation or to exceed their expectation. It's really simple, but very, very effective. Existing plans. Of course, people have existing plans. We don't want to sell more insurance. No one wants to buy more insurance, but there is lots of opportunity to look at something and ask yourself the question, does this plan do what it was originally intended to do? And most of the time, the answer is no. We just think, well, I've got insurance. I'm okay. Ask questions about the insurance. Why did you take it out? Tell me about what you understand about this policy. What does it do? Most prospects don't know the answer because someone sold them the policy many years ago, it got put in the drawer, and they forgot about it. The next one, if you happen to have clients that have a bit of money, one of the things that we always recommend is something called an emergency fund. It is the cash in the bank. It is not investment. It's not insurance. It's the cash in the bank that if something goes wrong, I normally say, if the roof blows off the house or the wheels fall off the car, you can go and access money. Emergency funds create peace of mind. And if you have peace of mind, you are more likely, statistically, to commit to longer-term financial planning. So don't be afraid to, I call it underselling. Sometimes give people who are a little bit nervous or vulnerable or inexperienced, just say, Atia, maybe what we should do, normally we recommend 3 to 6 months of expenditure as an emergency fund, but in your case, I would recommend 12 months. Does that give you more confidence? Does it give you more peace of mind? And in doing this, Atia has more confidence in me, more trust in me, because I'm not trying to sell him something. I'm not trying to extract every euro, every dollar, every pound. Little things like this create the building blocks for a really good relationship. Investments. I'm not going to spend too much time. I know some of you don't talk about investments, but capacity for loss is a phrase we use in the UK. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but basically capacity for loss is understanding the client's emotional attitude towards loss. So when I talk to clients about investing, I don't say, so Marty, you're a medium risk investor. Let's put everything into a medium fund. What I say is, in the short term, and as also people get older, they tend to be more cautious. For longer term money, we can be a bit more adventurous because we're less worried about the ups and downs of the stock market. So if you're saving for children's education, 20 years' time, we can be a bit more aggressive. In the short term, we can be more cautious. Overall, we create the balance that you like and want. So in other words, what we're saying is, balanced investing does not mean everything in one pot. It means different amounts of money for different objectives over different time frames. Next one, we're going to have to get a move on here. Pensions, mortgages, all of those things, don't ignore them. Look at what they've got. Ask them about their objectives at the beginning. Why did they take them out? Is it enough? Look at whether or not they've got the capacity to do more or maybe less. These are all opportunities that, unfortunately, many advisors, when they're filling in a fact find, oh, they've got a pension. Oh, they've got an investment. I don't need to talk about those. But in my experience, 8, 9 people out of 10 have never had someone review any of those arrangements. And by the way, if you are going back to see your clients every year, or however often you see them, do not call them review meetings. Because when you call something a review meeting, you make the client look back in time. Let's celebrate what we've already done. That doesn't create new opportunities. It celebrates what you've already done. Well done. But that doesn't generate new business opportunity. So respectfully, start calling them planning meetings. You are 24% more likely to create new business if you get the client looking forward, not backwards. Of course you will review what they've already done, but get them looking forward. Okay, what's next? What do we need to do next to create new opportunities, to get you closer to your goals? And the other thing about any existing arrangements is you negotiate. So, David, you said you wanted to retire at 55. What about retiring at 60? David says, I'd like to retire at 55, but if it had to be 60, no problem. Now, this is great for me because I've got a 5-year window for me to start my planning. I know he cannot really afford to retire at 55. He's not putting enough money into his investments, but we can probably get him to retire at 60. So I say to him, when I go back to present my recommendations, I say, David, and there is a very, very strong psychological trick, if I can use that word, where I always present 3 solutions. Always present 3 solutions. Why? Because the human brain will automatically eliminate one of the 3 options. Strawberry, vanilla, chocolate. Which one do I not want? Which is my least favorite? For me, chocolate. Not interested in chocolate. Don't like chocolate ice cream. So it's a straight choice. Vanilla or strawberry. It's the same with insurance or investments. 3 solutions. Which one do I not want? Most people do not want the cheapest one. That therefore increases your average case size because now people are focusing on the medium one and the more expensive one. So in this example, David, I have 1 solution that will allow you to retire at 60, 1 that will allow you to retire at 57, and 1 that will allow you to retire at 55. The one at 55 is expensive. David says, don't want to retire at 60, too far away. So, am I prepared to pay the price to retire at 55? Some people say yes. Most people say somewhere in the middle. But that has just increased my average case size substantially because I've got them eliminating the cheap option, focusing on the other 2. Couple final ones, and then I will just share a couple of thoughts around regulation and service. But any existing investments, performance, how is it performed? What do the charges look like? Is it worth reviewing the existing relationship they might have with an existing advisor? So in my experience, when someone is already working with an advisor, already has insurance, and is already investing money, these are actually better prospects than those who have none of those things. Why? Because they've already bought the idea of financial planning. They understand its importance. But in the UK, and I'm sorry to say Hungary is just the same, as is the US, in the last 20 years, people have been very transactional. They have bought policies, they've received no service, they don't really have a relationship with their advisor. And one thing we know about the regulators now, all around the world, is that if you do not demonstrate service, you are not entitled to keep any income you generate from that client. Let me tell you, working with and building on existing clients is far easier than looking for new prospects. So the greatest opportunity in our generation of our time in 2025 is looking for opportunity in our existing client bank. Yes, of course, we're always looking to prospect, find new clients, but there are great opportunities just by meeting or exceeding expectations around service. And that means taking over the work of another advisor who has not done a particularly good job. And then we circle all the way back at the end of the fact find to the objectives. So let's recap, let's review what your objectives are. I will now go away and create some outline thoughts and recommendations, and I will come back to you in a week or two. Now, one of the other opportunities in my fact find is I am usually going to talk to Kath about other professional people she's worked with. Now, Kath last year bought a house, so she worked with a lawyer. She's self-employed, so she works with an accountant. She insures her home, so she works with a general insurance broker or advisor. And her mortgage was arranged through a mortgage advisor she knows. 4 professional people she's now given me details of. So I talked to her about the relationship she has with her lawyer. She says, he's a really good guy. He's been responsible for all the conveyancing work, all the legal work on the few houses that I've bought over the years. Yeah, he's a good guy. And I call him and I say, Andre, this is Sandro Forte. We have a mutual client. Look, I'm in the business of holistic financial planning. I run a very successful business. People ask me all the time, do you know a good lawyer? Do you know a good accountant? Who do I insure my home with? These people, lawyers, accountants, general insurance brokers, mortgage brokers, are all in the same business as me and you. What is that business? It's called the prospecting business. Every professional person I know is looking for new clients. One of the biggest cases I've done in the last 5 years was from a divorce lawyer who I was referred to because another client had been through a divorce. She referred me. I contacted the divorce lawyer and I simply said, I run a successful financial planning practice. Many of my clients, unfortunately, get divorced. They ask me, do you know a good divorce lawyer? May I buy you a coffee? Let's talk about how I introduce my clients to you. What does she say? Absolutely, I'll buy the coffee. I went to see her. Her very first case she introduced to me, because they always reciprocate, was worth £35 million of investment. 35 million. First introduction. I've introduced 2 cases to her as well. We have a great relationship. That's an example of the kinds of relationships you can build with other professionals. And this is called an at-a-glance card. It's a summary of all the services that we provide. We produce it in a card. The card is very thick, because if it's thick, they can't tear it up and throw it in the trash. And it sits on the desk of the lawyer, the accountant, the mortgage broker. Why? Because I want me and my business to be visible. People cannot do business with you if they cannot see you. social media, at a glance card, call them on their birthday. Any reason to contact someone makes you visible. And the more visible you are, the more chance you have of receiving introductions. We also produce a folder, a really lovely ring binder that has our logo on it, and there's about 16 sections. The sections are designed to keep all of the documents, all the financial documents of my new client. One of the sections is something called recommended partners. It is a list of all of the other professional people that we work with that we think are really great. Guess what? Every professional person wants to be on the list. So they provide referrals. They try to do the best possible job at the cheapest possible price. And if they don't do a good job, they get removed from the list. So having a directory, a contact directory, encourages other people to get involved, to be on the list, because they are in the prospecting business, just like us. 5 years ago, I started something I call a meeting report. Now, I'm not going to read it to you because it's quite long. It runs to about 7-8 pages. But the good news is, once you create the template, which is, that's an hour or two as a job. But once you create the template, creating the meeting report is only about 20 minutes. And what the meeting report does is it summarizes everything I've discussed with Kath at the first meeting. So there are 3 sections. Everything in my world is in 3s. So section number 1, Kath, this is what you told me. You're married, you have 2 children, you live in your own house, you have a mortgage, you have 20,000 in the bank. Fact-find information. Section number 2, Kath, this is what you told me you wanted to achieve. You want to send your kids to private school. You want to retire when you're 55. You want to pay off your mortgage in the next 7 years. Financial objectives. And then section number 3 is something I describe as outline observations. This is not recommendations at this stage, because this is just the holding letter. I write this to Kath after the first meeting, usually 2 or 3 days later. And this is going to prepare Kath for the recommendation in 2 weeks' time. And I simply say, emergency money, this is how it works. All of your tax-free investment opportunities, this is how they work. Some of the tax-advantaged solutions, this is how they work. Your mortgage, do you pay off your mortgage? Do you invest the money? Comparisons, charts, information basically that educates Kath and keeps her focused on what I will be doing in a couple of weeks' time. And that has been one of the greatest tools that I have introduced into my business in the last few years. This is the killer question. This is the question you ask all new clients. When you get to the second meeting and you say to them, so Kath, great to be doing business with you, really looking forward to building a relationship, but before I leave you, Kath, tell me, what does great service look like to you? Kath may be very experienced. She says, I'll call you when I need you. Okay, that's her expectation. Or she says, feeling a bit vulnerable, can we speak every couple of months for a time? That's Kath's expectation. So that's what I provide to Kath until she feels more confident. And I don't lose clients, because people advisors lose clients, not because they're poor advisors, but because they focus so much on new business, they forget to look after the 800 clients they've spent 20 years acquiring. That is a crazy business model. Every year we send a questionnaire to our clients. Are you still happy, Kath, with the service? Do we need to change anything? When we change things, Kath enjoys the experience. We manage and continue to manage that expectation. Last couple of things, otherwise Marty will come on stage and drag me off. My out-of-office response has become very well known in the UK. And my out-of-office, because I've emailed so many people over the years, as I'm sure you have, and you get the, I'm out of the office until such and such, I won't have access to my emails, I'll be back on the 2nd of February. And it's really boring. And in the same way that we talk about visibility, let's show people our personality. Every one of you can build relationships before you even meet someone by showing people that you have a character, a personality. So my out of office changes every time I go away. Last year I took my children to Florida, and my out of office said, I'm away on vacation with my family. I'm absolutely terrified about receiving the credit card bill when I return, but I've promised my family I will spend the time away, I will not check my emails, and my significant other, she will not be happy if I work while I'm in Florida. So all of these out of office change over time. They're sometimes a little bit amusing, but it's designed to show people that I'm just not the same as everyone else. And I literally get people emailing me just saying, test. Just test, so they can read the out of office. And last year, I received 7 new introductions from professional people who replied saying, your out of office is amazing. It's really funny. It just tells people something about me that they wouldn't otherwise know. So don't miss the opportunity, because we're always marketing. And today is a great example of some of the things that you will hear from speakers that allow you not to sell, everyone knows how to sell, but to be different, to create new perceptions in the eyes of your prospects. Last 2 things. Let me tell you something before I sit down, and thank you for listening. You have everything you need in this business, everything. You are all experienced. I don't care whether you've been in this business 6 months or 60 years. You have absolutely everything you need. You have demonstrated for years and years how brilliant you are at many things. So you don't need more time. You don't need more time. You need less distraction. You don't need more motivation, though you will be motivated today, I'm sure. You need more self-control and discipline. You don't need more resources. You need more resourcefulness. You don't need luck. You need preparation. Think about that one. You don't need to be busy. You need to be focused, which is a great message you will get for MDRT. And you don't need to know everything. I'm still learning in this business. We're all still learning. You don't need to know everything. You just need to start. And here is a good example of a calendar that belongs to the unsuccessful advisor. Because, ladies and gentlemen, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, someday is not a day of the week. So whatever you do with all this amazing information you're going to receive today, make a start, put one foot in front of another, and make 2025 your best year ever. Thank you so much.
You're simply the best.